And we are recording. So the first question, and if you'll look, each question has a big number up here. That's the number in the book. So if you turn to 1.1 homework in the book and you look at number 39, it's like this question. So maybe you might want to highlight it in your book and say, went over on 117:19. You know, or you can just write the question down in your notebook notes. But make sure you put number 39 in the book, and then this one down here says what? Question number what? 17. That's 17 on your online homework. So if you go to 1.1, number 17, I don't care who you are, this problem is going to look like number 17. So it's very important that you put number 39/17. 39 means book, 17 means online for 1.1. Okay? So let's look at the question. And when I pull up questions, I tell you if it's a good question, if it's a homework question, if it's a test question, or if it's a stupid question. Now, if I say a stupid question, I don't mean you asking it is stupid. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the book is stupid, all right? Because some of these questions, I know one question I went over today in 103 or 120 this morning had like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Had 7 parts to it. That's ridiculous for a test question. So I would tell you this is okay for a homework question because it's telling you how to do the stuff, but I would not put it on a test. I rarely go over C on a test. Rarely. Okay? But it says a polling organization contacts 1,417 teenagers who are 16 to 19 years of age and live in North America, and ask whether or not they had driven a car on a highway recently. My son was driving like at 6, but he just drives on the farm. He don't drive, you know, on the road or anything. Now he drives on the road around the house, but he's been driving since my daughter and son. That's a good thing about growing up on a farm. You get to drive tractors and I'll shut up. Anyway, what is the population in the study? Well, you're only given one thing, and what is that? Teenagers 16 to 19 years old. So that's the population. And in this, if you're given the population and you're not given anything else, then the sample is the population, and the population is the sample. You get it? You can't get blood out of a what? Turnip. All right? If it's not there, it's not there. If you have one sentence, and the one sentence says 250 people at Tri-County Tech Anderson campus, you can't get a sample out of one thing. You see what I'm saying? The population is the sample is the population. You've only got one thing there. So it's the sample and the what? The population. Versus if the question said a polling organization contacted 1,417, blah, 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 16 to 19, 250 females were pulled out of it and asked if they wear sandals. Okay? Then you have a population and a what? A sample. If you only got one thing, you can't get blood out of a turnip. You can't make a sample out of just one thing. That's the population. So the population, when you only got one thing, the population is a sample, sample is population. So that's what they're asking. Question on that one. Is it a good test question? No, because it's confusing. It's one of those questions that it's not very easy, but it's very apparent, okay? If you're not given a second group of people or a smaller group of people, you can't create a sample out of the question. You see what I'm saying? So in this case, the 1,417 is both.
But in the first one, is it not saying that it... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it says the same thing. Say age and live in North Carolina, 16 and 19. It says the same thing.
It just doesn't include that number.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you make it so that we can see it a little bit better? Because it's like, I can't even read it.
Well, I can do it, but the problem is I have to do it with each one. Okay, so I would suggest maybe you move up, sit up here. Maybe I'll move my, you need to sit up and, you know, move up. That might help. Okay, because I have to do it with each one and I forget, and then you go strain your eyes. So you need to move up, try that. But there you go. But that's number 39, and look in your, now this is where if you print out your homework, it'll help you in class. Okay, some of you, if you go to the question right here, go right here, you can print out the whole what? The whole assignment. Okay, now I can't print it out here because it's not attached to assignment. This is a homework question sent to me. But over here where it says question help, you can actually print out the assignment. Print it out, print out 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, you know, and bring it to class, and you can see the actual problem, except the numbers may be different. So that might help you, okay? Or you can just look at it in your book. If you got your book, turn to number 39, and it'll look like the one in the book. Look like it, similar. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Anybody got a question? Okay. All right, next one. I'm going to delete that one because I went over it this morning and I went over it just now. Okay? This one is 1.1, number 51 in the book. So you would write down 51/21. This is like number 21 in your homework. Okay? It is extremely important for a researcher to clearly define the variables of a study, blah, 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 blah. If a researcher wanted to describe hockey players based on jersey number, just like we do in football games, hockey games, jersey number, okay? What level of measurement would the variable jersey number be? Well, remember this. Nominal usually covers all. Write that down. Nominal usually covers all. Now we're going to go through each one and talk about why it's not the others. So, nominal usually covers all. Why isn't ordinal? Okay, yeah, so you would have to put like a certain, how would you do it? You got to have some kind of order to do it by. Do you do it by hair color? You do it by age? You do it by blah, blah, blah. I mean, what are you going to, if you got 10 players on a hockey team, how are you going to coordinate the numbers in some kind of order? Okay? So it can't be ordinal because it just says based on jersey number. Why can't it be ratio? Well, ratio and interval both have to do with what? Zero. 0. 0 means nothing. Remember the bank account? Okay? What does interval mean? Temperature, meaning that 0 is a part of a scale, but it doesn't necessarily mean 0 temperature there. Okay? So, have you ever seen a football player or hockey player with double zeros on there? I haven't seen one on national TV. I don't know about hockey, but do we have a hockey team in South Carolina?
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, I mean real hockey team. I'm not talking about Podunk Greenville. I'm talking about you got to they still give tickets away to go see them.
I don't think so.
I remember when they used to show them on Channel 4, back when I watched local news, they would just show the ice because nobody would be in the stands. I don't know if it's still that way. Is it still that way?
No, there's people who go there all the time.
Oh, there are people
Yeah.
there? Wow. I guess things
But
change.
it's like the same people over and over again.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, we got a hockey team in Greenville.
They're not from Greenville either. They're all from like Canada and stuff.
Okay. I'm not even going there. So it's nominal. Why is it nominal? Because nominal catches all. And nominal means pretty much any way you want to put the numbers, you can do it. Dang, it's raining. Oh my gosh, I hope we make it home tonight. Gotta get bread and milk. All right. Does the level of measurement in the variable change in the second scenario? The second scenario says, now suppose the researcher felt that certain players who were what? Older receive higher numbers. What am I introducing into this now?
A greater number.
Starts with an O.
Order.
Order. I'm putting some kind of order in it. So therefore, the nominal changes to what?
Ordinal.
Ordinal. So you would type in Ordinal, if that's the way you spell it. I feel good about myself. Seen in gallon jugs today?
I saw that one you were talking about.
You saw why I said he needs to do more than water. Shut up, Hubert. Be nice. All right. Some of these people in here going, what the heck is he talking about? Well, there's this thing. If you go to her, I'll tell you the whole story, okay? Especially New Year's, all right? Because everybody goes where at New Year's? The gym, all right? New Year's resolution. Well, with the guys, girls, you never see this because the girls got more sense than to do this, okay? But the guys don't because of testosterone. So anyway, the gym trainer or the gym guru or the gym rat that's there and people asking them advice and all this stuff, well, guess what they tell them? You got to drink at least 2 gallons of water today. 2 gallons of water a day, blah, 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 blah. Well, most people would, count how many water bottles you drink, like she's got. Most people would get a water bottle that you could fill up down here at the water fountain, right? Not these guys. These guys carry around what? A gallon bottle of water. Basically hangs a sign around their neck that says, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to be a big boy. That's what it means. About like sunglasses in the gym. About the same thing. All right. I'm sorry. Bad, Hubert. I'm awful, aren't I? I'm terrible. I usually don't make fun of people. It's just when they hang a sign around their neck that says, please make fun of me. That's when I make fun of them, okay? And carrying around a freaking water jug is about stupid. Especially with all the water bottles we got now. And we even put in these little things where you don't get it from, you get filtered water now. Y'all seen them at the water fountains? Yeah. Ain't that nice? Well, I fill mine up at least 3 times a day. The green thing, I fill it up at least 3 times. Probably 3, and that holds up to 20, that's 60 ounces. Wow. Shut up, you. Breathe, back to the breath. 9, this is number 9 in the book. Number 5 online. Chased a rabbit, I'm sorry. Determine whether the underlying numerical value is a parameter or statistic. Explain your reasoning. In the phone survey of 100 random blah, blah, blah in a country. Okay, now the reason this question is sent to me is because people, you need to think about the question. All right? Let's take the good old US of A. How many homes are in the US of A? No, I'm not looking for a number. Just tell me a word. Thank you. Who said it? A lot. Okay? That's the word. You're smart. A lot. Some people are, let's say 524 million. Shut the hell up. You don't know how many homes are in the United States. That's why I'm divorced. Okay? Because I can't handle people that just know everything. I just can't handle it. Anyway, the whole point is, let's say, name a country besides the United States. Don't say Pittsburgh. Please don't say Pittsburgh. Huh? Africa. How many homes are in Africa? A lot. Okay? Even Saudi Arabia, and I was in Saudi Arabia for 9 months, about 10 months. Okay? They even got shacks out there, but what I'm saying is they have homes, and there's a lot of them. Okay, now let's go back to the question. A country with what? There's 2 things that tell you this is a sample. Somebody tell me what the 2 things are. What? You don't have to raise your hand, just blurt it out.
The 100 and the 21%.
The 100, meaning this is either a small a country or what? It's a part of a country. You see what I'm saying? It's a small country. It's there's no country that just has 100 homes on it. Think about it. So that tells you it's a sample. What if it had 1,475,000? Then that would be maybe a population because it's a BA number. This is not a BA number. This is a small number. In a country, there's no countries in the world that just have 100 homes. So that tells you the context of the number, the context of the question, the context of the number. What's the second thing that tells you is a sample?
21%.
No, not 21%, but I'm going to get to 21%. Look at what's the word right after 100? Random. Meaning there's other homes out there too. See what I'm saying? So there's two things here that says this is a what?
Sample.
A sample. And yeah, 21%, that means there's more out there that what? That doesn't have whatever they're asking. Okay? So it's a sample. Because the 100 data set of 100 random homes is a sample. And because the data set of all homes, so it can't be all, because the country cannot have just 100. I want somebody to name a country they think is small enough to have just 100 homes. That means you got 100 people living in that country. No, that's not right. Y'all seen that commercial? That's not right. Where the guy's in the carpet shower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not right. Yeah, that's not right. That's a good commercial. Because I remember it. And what's the whole purpose of having a commercial? So you remember it. And I remember that commercial. That's not right. All right, I'll shut up. Next question. Next question is 1.2, number 3 in the book, number 2 online. Explain what is meant by compounding. Compounding is all over the place, jumbled up. I'm not going to give you the pinky word for it or the pinky definition because it'll be confusing. Okay? Compounding is jumbled up. Write that down. What is lurking? Okay? Okay, most of the women in here, when you hear the word lurking, what do you think of? Dang old predator, stalker, dang old perv. Okay? So there's something that you don't see. There's a variable that you don't see in your survey that comes out of what? Nowhere. Think of Michael Myers behind the bushes in Halloween 2, the original Halloween. He's standing behind the bushes. Same thing. Okay? Lurking. And all of a sudden you're doing a study, you're doing a survey, blah, 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 and this unknown variable comes out of what? Left field. That's called a lurking variable. Will you run into that anytime in the next 2 or 3 years? No. Okay, the only time you're going to run into a lurking variable is if you're doing what? Research. Maybe in your master's program or your doctorate program, or if you're working with a environmental science group that's going out and doing surveys every other week. Yeah, you might see that. So this is not a good test question because I don't think it's pertinent to you passing this class. Okay? Last question that we did, the 100 homes. That's really not a test question because it's kind of what? Tricky. So I don't put tricky, and Mr. Ford can tell you, I don't put tricky questions on a test. I put just normal type questions that I like to see one out of the homework. It's got normal, common sense, critical thinking, and I cover in class. And if I do one of those 4 things, it's okay. So, and what is a compounding variable? Compounding, what does compounding mean? Jumbled up variable, jumbled up variable. That's what it means. So let's look and see which one says jumbled up and don't see it. I'm going to look at compounding as a study occurs when the effects of explanatory are caused. No. Compounding as a study occurs when there is little or no actual relationship. Compounding is a study where a single explanatory variable has a great effect. Compounding is a study where the effects of 2 or more explanatory cannot be separated. Therefore, any relation may exist between an explanatory variable and the response variable due to some other parabola, blah, 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 by the effects of the response when there is 0 compounding in the study. This is a stupid question. No wonder you sent it. Sometimes,
Would it be D?
I'm going to take your word for it. Let's see. And I thought, when I read D, I thought it was it, but yes, it is D. But it's jumbled up. What is a lurking variable? Okay, a lurking variable is a quantity variable that either is finite number of possibilities. A lurking variable is a quantity that is an infinite number of possibility values. A lurking variable is a responsible variable that was not considered in the study. These two, it's either C or D. Okay, but is also affected, but affects the value of the response, also affected by the causal relationship of the explanatory variables in the study. In addition, lurking variables are typically related. I would say it's typically, let's say, not considered in the study, but that affects the value of the response variable in the study. In addition, lurking variables are typically related to the you say it, okay? Related to the response variable or related to the explanatory. I would say D, but I could be wrong because there's only one word that really is different between the response and the explanatory. And I'm going to tell you something. These questions are way out of this class, okay? This is way out. So what I would be doing if I was you, I would be writing these two questions down so you can, these two, get some kind of, you don't have to write them word for word. But make sure you know how to do this in your homework because I am not going to ask you this on a test. Because this is really out of this book. It shouldn't even be in this class. It should be way after, after this class in another, maybe a second or a third year statistics class. A lurking variable is an explanatory variable that was not considered. So you would write down not considered, and then you would go down here and say related to explanatory variables. That's all you got to write because that's the only difference in the two. The explanatory variable versus the response variable. A confounding variable is a response variable that has an effect on the explanatory variable. Well, we just said that this one has a what? Is typically related to the, so I don't think that one's it. It could be. Confounding variable is a response to a variable that was not considered. That's a possibility. A confounding variable is an explanatory variable which study has been focused. A confounding variable is an explanatory variable that was considered in a study whose effect cannot be distinguished from the second. Now that's a possibility right there. I would say B or D, probably. Okay, that's the only difference, response versus explanatory. I would say the response, but I probably picked the wrong one. Yep, I did. It's D. There you go. So you would write down a confounding variable is an explanatory variable. Do I have any idea what this means? No. And I'm a math teacher, okay? That shows you how much this is used. I remember vaguely this stuff, but that was in 401 or 405. That's a 400 level math course. So this is way out of place. So make sure you got it so you can do the homework, get you a check mark, and get 100 on the homework. Because I would not put this on a test. But good question, out of place. It's a good description of this question. This is out of place. Capiche? Lee. Okay, 1.3, number 7, number 3. 1.3, number 7, number 3. This is not a good question, and I'll tell you why. Because the answer, well, let's just go through it. Here's the question they give you. I want you to write down those 4 classes. You don't have to write down EPR. Just write down class 614, 630, 670. These are courses. Course, you write down class, you write down course, I don't care. 614, 630, 670, 685, and 641. Now, I'm going to write on the board what this is. This is called a sample space. All right? What is a sample space? Can anybody give me the definition of a sample space? Let's say you want to have 2 children, 2 babies. What's the possibility of those two babies? Tell me. What?
Chances of what?
Who asked that question? Okay, if you have a baby, what's going to come out? A what? A boy. Okay, 2 children. You want to have 2 children. So one scenario is what? 2 boys. A boy and a girl and a boy, and a what? That's called a sample space. Sample space is the number of options that come from the event. So if you're going to have 2 babies, okay, or you're going to have 2 children and then fix it to where you're not going to have any more children, those are the 4 possibilities. Right? Everybody with me? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, in some ways it is, but the girl comes first. You're talking about age. One of them's going to be older than the other. That's the only difference, age. Okay? Now, if you have twins, then one, even if you have twins, one's going to be older than the other. So there's going to be a difference between the 2. Okay? Now, the way that probability is asked, it's going to be asked the probability of 1 boy, the probability of 1 girl, the probability of 2 girls, the probability of no girls. That's the way it's going to be asked. So technically, you have 3 instances here: no girls, 1 girl, or what? 2 girls. So those count as the same as 1 girl. See? That's the way they ask probability. But we'll get into that later. Right now we're just in statistics. Now, what they're wanting you to do here is they're wanting you to write down every sample space, or the sample space for these, how many classes? 5? 5 classes. I want to show you how to do the first one, and then you do the rest of it. So here we go. I'm going to take 614. Is it ever 2? They want 2, right? So I'm going to put this one with this one, this one with this one, this one with this one, oops, and this one with this one. So 614 and what? 630. And then 614 and 670. And then 614 and 685. And then 614 and what? 641. So with each class, I have 4 combinations. How many classes are there? So what's 4 times 5? 20. So there's 20 different combinations. Remember that for later. Now I want you to do the next one. Which the next one, I'm going to use 630. And I'm going to go here, here, oops, here, and there. So I'll start you off. 630 and 614. And then the next one will be 630 and 670. All right, keep going. And then the next one you're going to pick is 670. Go ahead and I want you to complete that sample space. If you can't do it, just consider yourself a what?
A loser?
A loser or a failure or a disappointment. Just get yourself a cardboard box and just set it down there by the river. Or a bank down by the river. Actually, is it a paleophile? I think it's a paleophile. Person that loves rain. Somebody Google it. It's paleo something. I love rain. Thunderstorms are better than rain. I'd rather have be thunderstorm. Anybody in here like thunderstorms? Okay, 1 or 2 people. $630, $685, $630, $641. Next one, $670, $614, 670, 630, 670, 685, 670, 641. Okay, and 685, 614, 685, 630, 685, and 685. Okay, 685 and 670, 685 and 641. And then the last one, 641, 614, 641, 630, 641, 670, and 641, 685. How many is that?
20.
Should be 20. All right, I'm gonna hit done. And now let's look at the question. Now the reason I don't like the question is because the question only gives you part of the solution, and then at the end they want you to use the whole sample space to do the calculation. So it's kind of like giving you a piece of it and then jerking it away from you. They only want you to do one half here and do the whole thing here. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, now you got to go through and pick how many of these are in here. So they don't give you the whole sample space. You only pick some of them. So you know this one's not it. Why? Because it asks for 2 combinations, and how many classes is that one? Basically, they're asking you if you're paying attention. Okay, because that one doesn't fit. So now you got to go through and admit, do I have a 670, 649?
No.
No. I don't?
No, it's not 640.
649 doesn't even exist, does it?
No.
Okay. So 649 is out. 630, 685. Right here. So that one's good. 630, 670. That one's good. 630, 641. 641, 641. Nope. You're not going to take the same class. That's 614, 630, 614, 685, 670, 641, 685, 641, 614, 641, 614, 614, 670, 685, and 614, 670. So how many did they give you to choose from? Half. But then the next question they ask you, they want you to use all 20 of them. So it's kind of like, I don't like the question. If they ask for all of them, then that would be different. If they said, what I would, the good question would be, how many combinations do you have? Instead of asking this stuff, just say 20. That would be a good question. And then say, okay, the next question, we're going to go over it. Does everybody see how you get your sample space now? Okay, so let's go to our handy dandy next question. Oh, I got to tell you which ones. Oh, shoot. Let me go back and hit them. It's not these two. That one. Okay, not that one, not that one. Where's the one that, not that one, where's the other repetitive one? Okay, how many else? Is that it?
You're doing the wrong.
You're due.
Select all the ones possible.
Okay, so
So A,
let me just do this. This is so stupid!
A, C, K, and J.
I gotta take these off whenever.
Russians.
It's all about the Russians.
Think about A.
A and the repetitive one. Okay, is that, did I mess up anything? And hit you. Oh my goodness, no smokestacks on my truck. There we go. Now, there is a blank and blank chance that these courses will be selected. So here's where you go back. Forget what you just did, because you got to go back to the what? You got to go back to the original, which is 2. There's 2 classes up there, right? 2 out of what? How many sample spaces?
20.
20, which reduces down to what? 1 over 10. So here, they want you to just name half of them, okay? Just name half of them. But over here on part B, we want you to use the whole shindig. So that's why I don't like the problem. So 1 in 10.
We don't take the number of classes that were selected and put that over 20?
It says, comment on the likelihood that EPR 670 and 641 will be selected. How many classes is that?
Okay.
2. So it'd be 2 out of what? 10, which is 2 out of 20, which is what? 1/10. It should be 1 to 10. So let's look and see if I'm right. Hold on. Hold on. I should use posters in class. 1 out of 10. It's a miracle. So in that one, you have to do the sample space, pick the ones that are not, and then remember down here, it's not going to be these right here. It's going to be out of the whole group, which is 20. Capiche? Good homework question, not a good test question. Besides, you're going to see which ones are on the test when I show it to you. All right, next one. 1.3, 7/3. Number 7 in the book, number 3 online, 1.3. I thought, oh, we just did that one, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just did that one. It was just sent twice. 2 people sent it. So, okay. I'll let you do this one. There you go. How many 2 class combinations do you have? Well, it's going to be the same. It's going to be 20. But you got to find out which one's which. Okay? Evidently somebody went through and did it. They did this. But how many? It'd be 2 out of 20, which would be what? 1 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
1 out of 10. That's it. So all you have to do is write down this one, 670, 684, 623, 696, and 928, and just write down, I'll move this out of the way for you, and you can write down the answers. Well, there you go. And write down the possibilities right quick, and then you can just, that'll be a question you can have in your notebook. There were 2 questions if you wrote down the first one. This is actually a Michelob Ultra with Diet Coke wrapped around it. What? Yeah, you will. There'd be one person in here that would. Are you forcing your class to go eat with you? Yes, that's what I'm doing. Holding a gun to their head. Well, so far, no text from my mother. My mother's at home with my kids, although one of my kids is college. She's a junior in college at Clemson. But a 12-year-old and a 20-year-old, y'all know what happens, right? They fight. So I haven't got a message yet, so evidently everything's good. They haven't killed each other, so. Yeah, I'm having to neglect my children tonight because of y'all. That's okay. That's what I'll tell DSS. They come check every week after the incident. That's a joke. He beats his children. Okay, so y'all got that one? Y'all got it written down? I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like I say, it's not gonna be on a test. Any questions on it? When I get to a test question, I'm gonna say this is a good test question. So we haven't got there yet. So that means that y'all are doing pretty good because some of these questions are all kind of yucky. So that means that you must be doing good on the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and move to another question if you don't mind. And plus you can watch the video if you need to fill in. You can watch the video and pause it, and you can write it down for that one person that's going to watch the video. All right. Next, 1.3, is this the same one? Yep, same one. So what does that tell you? 3 people sent this question. What does that tell you?
It's not a good question.
That is not a good question, exactly. The more times you see a single question, the more times you can pretty much say it sucks. Or I didn't cover it, which I'm going to deny that. Blame it on the Russians. If anybody accuses me of not going over a question, I'm just going to say, no, I went over it. I'm going to lie. All right, here's 2.1, and it's probably going to be a question that I'm going to cover in just a few minutes. But, yep, we'll just wait. Well, no, we can go ahead and use this because we're going to use this. We're going to open it up in Excel, and this is going to be today's class, starting in 2.1. And I'm using Excel because I want all of you to master Excel in about 3 days, right? No. I use Excel so I can get it all where? On the board. Because I write all over the place and my numbers and letters are big and I can't get everything on one page. Especially when I'm doing calculations. I get all crazy and go all over the place. All right, so I'm going to blow this up for you. Now, what is this called? This is called, hold your pinky up, a frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is nothing but a chart. Okay? There's 2 types of frequency distributions. And what are they? You've got one that's called a quantitative, and the other one is called a qualitative. Qualitative on the left has categories. I think we've already talked about this, right? Categories. What does a quantitative distribution have? But what are they called? C word, boxing, wrestling,
Classes.
Classes, good. Somebody listened. All right. Weight classes or classes. If you have heights, you're going to put them in classes. If you have shoe sizes, you're going to put them in classes. Ages, you're going to put them in classes. All right. Qualitative data, blonde, brunette, redhead, is going to be categories. Now, we're going to get into both of them. You can't subtract, add, multiply, and divide blondes, brunettes, and redheads. So when you're talking about a category, you can't find the mean and the standard deviation of a qualitative distribution. But you can find the mean and standard deviation of a quantitative. All right? We'll get to that later. But you've got to know the difference between the two. Now, I'm going to do 2 of them, and I want you to write them down in your notebook. And we're going to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here because right now it's 6:30 and some of y'all are going to go in convulsions in the next 15 minutes. So we need to go ahead and get it down. All right, I'm going to put a class here. And I'm going to put, we'll do grades, okay? Let's do 90 to 99 or 90 to 100. I don't want to use 100. I'm going to use 99. There's a reason I'm going to use 99. And then we're going to use 80 to what?
89.
Yep. This is the real scale, not them stupid scales that they tried to use a while back to inflate the grades. What was it? 93 to 100 is an A, and we won't even go there. That was just a joke. 70 to 79 and 60 to 69. And then failures in life, 0 to what? 59. Okay, and over here, we're going to call this the frequency. Can anybody tell me what a frequency is? a head count. That's what it is. It's a head count. But you can't hold your pinky up and say head count. So you hold your pinky up and say frequency. Head count. So how many A's we got in class? 4. 4 people got A's. 7 people got B's. 10 people got C's. 6 people got D's. And 3 people are living in cardboard boxes and down by the river. Okay? So, here are your 2 types of frequency distributions. A quantitative is the ages, the A, B's, and C's, and the qualitative is the whatever that is up there. Never, rarely, sometimes. Okay? Now, we're going to talk more about this one later. Okay? Later in chapter 2. Okay? Like 2.3 or 2 point whatever. We're going to talk more about this. But right now, I just want to go through these 2 and talk about what a relative frequency is. Hold your pinky up. Relative frequency. A relative frequency is what? Anybody have any idea what a relative frequency is? What is that? It's the percent. I really do think this, and I might have told you this the other night. You know, when I think statistics was invented, I think there was some people that couldn't get a math degree, and they got together, and they say, we're going to call ourselves statisticians, but if we're going to make this into a branch of mathematics, we got to think up a lot of words that mean the same thing that the math does, but we got to make it super inflated so we can sound like we know what we're doing. I really do think that, because a lot of things in statistics is just a relapse of what you learned back what? In basic math, algebra, pre-algebra, but they call it different things just to make it sound. They call a bar chart a histogram. Is there any difference between a bar chart and a histogram? No. Same thing with this. They call a frequency distribution, a table, a frequency distribution, because basically this is what it is. It's a table. And they call relative frequency, they call that a percentage of relative frequency. You figure it out. No, I think you had a couple of people get together and say, well, we can't get a math degree because math is too hard, so we're going to branch off and we're going to call ourselves statisticians, and we're going to make up a bunch of words that sound smart. Now I'm being facetious, but there's a lot of words that you're going to run into in probability and statistics that mean the same thing that you learned back in pre-algebra, okay? A Pareto chart. Do you know what a Pareto chart is?
Barbara?
A Pareto chart is a bar chart. It's just in ascending order or descending order. But if you listen to it, you think it was something that was developed in Italy. It's a bar chart. And what happens, I think somebody, who was it that told me, what are y'all laughing about? Somebody told me that they had a hard time with 120 last semester. Who was that in here? Was it you?
Yes.
Okay. That's why people have problems with not only calculus, same thing. Okay? They go through and they inflate these words and they inflate these properties and they inflate this. And all you got to do is just tell the students what it is. That's where a lot of people have problems. In calculus, a lot of people have problems because of that. So, and you think you're going to run in, you think you get out of that in high school and college, you don't. It goes into the real world. You're going to be working with somebody that uses words that they don't even know how to use. That is one of the most painful things to listen to, is when you know somebody that uses I'm not talking about big words, I'm talking about BA words, okay? And they don't know how to use them. It's painful. It's very painful to listen to them talk. But anyway, you're gonna run into that. So what do? Well, first of all, in order to do a percentage, you got to have a total. So you go down here. Hit the dang old total key, which is sigma. You got to call it sigma. You can't call it total. Sigma. And you add up all those numbers. Sorry. Do it again. There we go. And you go out here and you call it total. Now, if you're in statistics, you call it sigma or you call it summation. Down here, how many people are in the class? Well, you add them up. So how many people are in this class of A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's? 30. Now you've got a total. Now, how do you make a percentage out of a number in a classroom or a number in a survey? What do you put it over?
100.
Not 100, that's a percent, but that's good thinking. The total. So let's do that. Let's go over here. First, we've got to call it, let's erase that, because we're big boys and girls now. We don't use redneck terms. We're going to call it a relative frequency. And as Patrick Starfish says, you got to hold your pinky up, putting on airs. Frequency. I can't even spell frequency. There we go. And that's going to be equal to 438 divided by 2244, F4 to lock. And y'all check them in your calculator. There's the percentages. Now, of course, you don't say 0.195%. You move the decimal 2 places to the left, to the right, and call it. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say equals this, and I'm going to copy it.
You divided each one of the frequencies by the total to get.
By 22 to 44, yep. And then I hit this little key right here, percentage. There's your percentages. And that is what you call relative frequency. And I guarantee you, and I'm not going to pick on you because you took it last semester, but I guarantee you there's people in here that took Math 120 before, whether it's high school or and they never did know what relative frequency was, and all it is a percentage. Now, do these. Give me the relative frequency of these. I'm going to let you do that one. Yeah, that's the SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob goes in Sandy's dome and dries up. Y'all know that episode? Water, air is not good. Yeah, I know, y'all don't watch SpongeBob. Yeah, right. I know y'all watch SpongeBob. I let my kids watch SpongeBob. We watch it every Sunday. I cook a big breakfast. They come over or walk with me, but the daughter comes over, and we watch SpongeBob. I wouldn't let them watch Teletubbies or that bald-headed kid that was spoiled rotten. That kid, there's something wrong with that kid. His hair never grew. Yeah, there's something wrong with that kid. He had issues. And he had a health problem. So I never let my kids watch him. His hair never what? He would be around kids with hair on their head, but he would have. Something's wrong with that boy. I would say that and aggravate my daughter. My daughter would get so aggravated. And I never, Teletubbies, you forget that. No. Something's wrong with them. I don't know who brought them, I don't know where they came from. They creep me out. Did you ever have a creepy kids show that you watched?
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I'm sorry, what?
Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's not.
Yeah, my daughter liked it. My son didn't like it. Anybody got another one? Y'all still watch them. I know y'all do, so. But no, we like to watch the 2 movies. There's 2 or 3 movies that SpongeBob had, and they'd like to watch them, so. I think they watch them. They play more on their phone than they do anything. I think I'm the one that watches them, so I don't know. It's pretty sad. Y'all finished? We're going to have so much fun in this class. You know what we're going to end up doing? We're going to end up going to El Raros.
That's right.
And I'm going to get fired. Because of somebody in here that ain't got no life and no medication. You know, I said that one time and I actually had somebody complain.
Stop.
Yeah, I had somebody complain that I was making fun of people that were on medication. I don't know who's taking medication in here. I may be taking medication. I ain't kidding you. These people, they need a closet, a puppy, and a pillow. Good gosh. No sense of humor. Snowflake and buttercups. They need to suck it up. I'm offended. I'm offended. What are you offended? Well, he said medication. Yeah, I said medication. And then there was one woman that said that I was making fun of her. Like, I don't know anything about you. How can I be making fun of you? If you keep it generic, then you don't have anything to worry about. When you start pointing at people, that's when you have a problem. Russian, I believe. There we go. Did y'all get that?
Yeah.
And if you want to change it to percentage, you just hit that. Now, do you have to watch the directions here? Yes. Because sometimes they'll ask for a decimal, then they turn around and the next question they ask for what? A percent. So you got to be careful. All right? Now, I'm combining 2.1 and I think 2.3 right here because I want to continue on with the second one because that's where we're going to spend a lot of time in chapter 3. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write down several things over here that you're going to need to know. One is called a lower class limit, and the other one is called an upper class limit, and the other one is called a class width. I was thinking which one I needed to do first. Class width, and the next one is called a midpoint. Which one is most important of those four? These two are most important. Dang old Verde. Oops, where'd Verde go? There we go. All right. Now, I'm going to highlight these. Dang old. How do you say, I always forget how to say yellow in Spanish. How do you say it? Say it again.
Amarillo.
I always forget. I can't, Aramillo, or say it one more time.
Aramillo.
Aramillo. Dang old lemon. Dang old lemon. Okay? And I'm going to highlight. I can't highlight it. Yeah, I can. I can go over here. I'm impressed y'all, don't I? All right. And these are your lower class limits. That's your lower class limits. You got 5 of them in this example. They're the ones that are on the left-hand side that are on the what? Lower side. That's why they're called lower class limits. Then what do you think the upper class limits are? Well, I'm going to show you for those that don't have critical thinking skills. Take my dang old aqua. I had a high school ring, had it for 2 days. And I was busting beaver dams on the creek, and I lost it. And I had aqua. I don't know why I got aqua, because I don't know. What is December?
Topaz.
Okay, then it was blue topaz. But it looked like aquamarine color. And every time I see that aquamarine, I think of that ring. I only had it for 2 days. That's depressing. Okay, that's this color. So we'll take it right here. I was having a flashback like Willy Wonka, so I'm sorry.
You see that Willy Wonka?
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Johnny Depp having flashbacks. You know who he mimicked for that movie? You know who he watched and what do you call it when you imitate something? Imitate? You know who he imitated? Anybody want to take a guess?
Which one? Which
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Johnny Depp. Do you know who he emulated? Anybody want to take a guess? Michael Jackson. Yeah. He watched Michael Jackson and how he and watched how he interacted with people when people would come and rush at him and Michael Jackson would freak out, you know. He watched Michael Jackson to study for that film. That was interesting. He did that in an interview. He said, anyway. I like stuff like that. I like to find out stuff about how they did acting and stuff like that. Okay. Lower class limits, that's these right here. Now, how do you get the class width? Well, the class width, and I'm going to write it right here, is your, I'm going to say the upper class limit sub 2 minus lower class limit, or upper class limit sub 1. Okay? Now what does that mean? That means that I'm going to take this guy, this 89, or 99, I got it bass accurate, sorry. Take the first one or second one. You just do it vertically. What's 99 minus 89?
10.
What's 89 minus 79?
10.
What's 79 minus 69?
10.
Y'all get the point? Okay. What's 90 minus 80?
10.
What's 80 minus 70?
10.
What's 70 minus 60?
10.
Okay, this one is usually not used because you don't, it's usually 50 to 59, 40 to 49. That's the way it usually is, but I just cut it off. Anyway, you don't crisscross. You don't go 90 minus 89. You don't go 90 minus 70. You always go coinciding. 99 minus 89. Now, a lot of people say, well, my teacher told me to do 99 minus 90. That's tricky. Why? Because what's 99 minus 90?
9.
You have to include 90, and that makes 10. Don't do it that way. You'll get confused. Okay? Always go vertical. 99 minus 89, 89 minus 79, and so on. So the class width here is what? 10. Now the reason you need the class width is when you find the midpoints, you don't have to calculate 5 or 6 or 10 times. What's the midpoint? The midpoint is parentheses, the highest or the lower class limit plus the upper class limit, parentheses, divided by 2. So let's take the first one. What's 90 plus 99?
189.
189. What's half of 189? Well, that's easy. 190 would be what? Half of 50, half of 45, or 50 and 45 is what? There you go, 94.5. So you put 94.5 right here, and then you start adding tens. What's 94.5 plus 10? Or minus 10, sorry. What's 94.5 minus 10? What's 84.5 minus 10? 74 minus 10. And that's how you get the midpoints. So your midpoint is your lower class limit, these two guys right here, added together divided by 2. Now, in a minute, I'm going to pull one out of the book, and we're going to actually do one that's meant, I just made this one up, okay? We're going to do one that's actually goes all the way down to 0, and you'll see how to do it, okay? So I want you to be able to find those two right there, and this one you do 94.5, 84.5, 74.5, 64.5, 54.5, and so on. Okay, so you've got two types here. You've got the qualitative. Can you do mathematical calculations with a qualitative data? Yes or no? Blonde, brunettes, redhead. Can you calculate blondes, brunettes, and redheads? No. So you can't do qualitative. The only thing you can do with qualitative distribution is you can find the what? Relative frequency. Or the cumulative. Okay, the cumulative. How much is the cumulative worth? Nothing. But I'll show you how to do the cumulative. Here's the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency. You take the first number, 438, and then you add what? You add the second number. It's really useless. So, hold on. Equals this number plus this number. And then what do? You take the next one and you add what? The next number. What should they equal at the end? The total. That's the cumulative frequency. Does it have any mathematical value? None. None whatsoever. Why do they ask you? I guess to check to make sure you added the total right. I don't know. I have no idea what they do it for. So I'm going to color that burnt, yucky orange color. And that's, so those two on the cumulative frequency should match. So what's the cumulative frequency of the second one? Well, 4. I'm just going to do this one. 4. What's 4 plus 7? 11. What's 11 plus 10? 21. 21 plus 6? 27. 27 plus 3? It's a miracle. So the cumulative frequency really doesn't have any mathematical value. I really don't care about asking you, but the only reason I ask you on a test is because the questions that I have to choose from, they have the relative frequency and the cumulative frequency. So I can't chop off the cumulative frequency, I have to have it. So make sure you can do all of those things with both. That's the only thing this is the only thing you can do right here with a qualitative frequency distribution. You can't do anything else after that. But this one, we're going to do a whole lot more with this one later, chapter 3. Anybody got questions on these two questions? We're going to go do another quantitative. Well, no, we're not. But you should be able to do 2.1 and 2.3 homework now. Okay? Or start on it. But make sure you start on it enough to where you can send questions if you got it. Okay? Let me pass around the roll. Don't worry, you're not going to explode. It's only like 6:53, so you're not going to like go into convulsions or anything. You got plenty of time. Anybody got questions for me? Everybody following me so far? No confusion on these words, these big words. Put the checks down to there. Nobody's got any questions? Is it better than the last time you took it so far?
Well, she had pronounced half the things right, like her saying alpha during one of the chapters, she kept saying aardvark. So we had no clue what she was talking about until we took the test and it says what's alpha, and we were like, oh, well that's.
What's aardvark?
So we were very confused during the whole thing.
I really don't know where alpha is, because alpha is not introduced until chapter 9 and 10. I don't know where she would be talking about
The
alpha.
chapter that we just done, like that, everything that you skipped over, she made us go through in like details.
Yeah.
And then when we took the test, none of it was on there.
Yeah, and the reason is because most of the tests that we do, we make for our classes, goes by a template, and those templates are designed for what's important. And that's why she didn't put any of that on the test.
And our study guides never matched it either.
Yeah. So, now, what are y'all messing up?
Somebody already read an evil movie.
Some of y'all can break an amble with a banana. And if you don't know what an amble is, you don't say you don't know. You Google it. A-N-B-I-L. It's what falls on Coyote's head. Okay? And if you don't know who Coyote is, your parents need to be taught to, because everybody should know Roadrunner and Coyote, Anvil falls on Roadrunner's head.
They don't know what need more cowbell is.
What?
Need more cowbell.
Need more cowbell? Yeah. My daughter, she kept trying to pull it up. She said, I can't find it. I said, so I sent it to her on Facebook. And you know the Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer looks like Will Ferrell. And he got mad one time. He went off on somebody but he got over it. But they showed up on the Jimmy Fallon show and they had a drum off. Because of course Will Ferrell can't play the drums, but he did okay. But at the last minute he pulled out a cowbell. And see, Jimmy Fallon was in that skit. And they played cowboy, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers played, is it Blue Oyster Cult, the Grim Reaper? I think that's the song, plays the cowbell. Anyway, you have to watch. Don't forget it. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. That's back when SNL, Saturday Night Live was funny. Back when Will Ferrell and Eddie Murphy and all those people were on it. Now, I don't even watch it. That one blonde-headed guy, I'd like to take a bat and beat him upside the head with it. The one that made fun of the veteran with the eye patch, I ain't got no use in him. You don't make fun of veterans with eye patches on their face. You don't do that. At least you don't do it in front of me. I don't want you to. Any other questions? So, you should be working on chapter 1, and you should be working on chapter 2, 1.1, And 2.2, did 2.2 or just 2.3?
2.3 and 2.2.
No, read the outline. Who's got an outline?
2.1, 2.2, and 2.3.
That's what you should be working on. Not saying you should know all of it. You should